But if you're a woman, you know what I mean, you've been restricted. You like, hey, little baby, man, I'm out here. I'm finna do my thing. I'm finna put this little this cougar cat on these young things. We finna do our thing, babe. I'm trying to get my everything.
I've been going through some things, so much on my brain.
Wow, what it is, y'all? You hear me? Hey, we already back with another episode. It's your boy L. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Gotta give y'all this temperature check. So, you already know last week, man, we was running about men cheating, had a little long conversation about it. Shout out to everybody who watched the video, listened to the podcast, however you consumed it. Shout out to all of y'all. I must say I appreciate last week, because last week I had some good conversation, like on the follow-up of it. Like, you know what I mean? Every time I have an episode, I never know exactly how it's going to hit. Like, I obviously believe in the information I put out, but you never know how it's going to be received. So shout out to everybody who like hit me back, gave me their opinion on it, ran it with me about it. Yeah, man, shout out to y'all. I had a lot of people kind of like following up and believing and kind of agreeing with a lot of the points I was making. And that was nice to hear. I really want to hear more people who like disagreeing with me, because I feel like I can have more building and give better information when I have like a bit more disagreement with the things I'm saying. But hey, it's always good when folks rocking with what you're saying. So shout out to everybody last week. So on that note, checking in, still staying on the temperature check. Shout out to one of my friends who I recently like ran it with, and like they kind of had some stuff going on. I kind of pulled up, chopping up with them, and I kind of like peeped some stuff, and I kind of got on their ass a little bit. Like, I kind of made mentions of some things, and they was like, I don't really like this. You know what? Let's kind of get away from this. I don't like you saying stuff about it. And like they took it as a judgmental kind of way, and I really want to like shout out to them, like let you know, look, I'm going to get on your ass because I believe better in you every time. So if I see you kind of doing some stuff and it's like, not on some, just do everything, work. Look, man, sometimes we go through it. But even while we going through it, sometimes you can still see better within somebody and be like, hey, look, man, you going through it, but I know within you, even through this, you better than what you're doing. So, hey, we're going to talk about it. And like, hey, let's do the work to make sure you continue to work. And so that's all it was. And I just want you to know that. For sure, anytime I'm like running with you on that kind of conversations or something, it's all love, and you know what I mean? This is all it is. I'm gonna continue to get on your ass, but I'm getting on your ass with love, and it's because I believe in you. And hopefully on the other side of it, really, I want people to do the same thing to me. Whenever I'm messing up or something, hey, look, man, get on me. I want folks to make me, hey, bro, you playing? Get better, because I know sometimes I be slacking this podcast. I be late recording, trying to cut these clips up and to put them out. Any of this stuff be killing me sometimes. I don't be on it like I be needing to. I be watching too much anime. I be on YouTube too much, whatever kind of other stuff taking up my time. So look, man, sometimes you just gotta have people kind of like motivate you and give you that extra push. Like, hey, look, man, you great, and just go be great. And sometimes when I'm telling you great, I'm gonna have to let you know in the areas that you're not being as great as you can be in, so that you can shine your light as bright as possible. So yeah, that's what I kind of just wanted to shout out to a friend, let them know that for sure. I really don't got too much going on with that. So with that said, man, that's the temperature check. And I just need y'all to know, hey, look, man, y'all already rocking with your boy. You already know what it is. You up in the house, you in the StoryHouse show. You rocking with your boy on this podcast. It's your boy L, man. It's love. Y'all already know how we doing. Come through the door, kick in. Hey, look, man, you want some water? I'm just popping in my refrigerator. You already know. I'm letting y'all know this every time. Don't just be coming in my house, opening my refrigerator door. This is not for you. You ain't paying these bills. You ain't buying nothing up in there. Don't be just going in. No. Which you already know, man. It's love, man. It's fam in the house. Look, if you done been here for the first time, hey, what's you company? You know, you a guest pulling up. You know what I mean? We gonna give y'all the house rules. You done been here before. Man, quit acting out. You already know how we rocking. It's love, baby. Get in here. Take your shoes off. Let's get comfortable. Let's run this shit, man. It's a StoryHouse show, man. We back with it. So, yeah, on that note, man, let's go ahead and get right into today's vent. And for today's vent, I'm going to stay building off of what we had going last week with men cheating, and we're going to go onto the topic of women cheating. Now, obviously, with this conversation, I'm a man. So, with last week's conversation, though I haven't cheated, I've been in situations where it can be perceived I cheated, or it can be I've had opportunities to. So I can give a more direct man's stance from it. So with the woman conversation, this is just more conversations I had with people and observations based on that. I can only give that. That's the only basis I can have from, because I'll never be a woman. I don't have any goals to ever be a woman. I'm happily a dude. Shout out to anybody, whatever you got going on. But yeah, like for me, a big thing with it is even though you got men, women, reasons why we do things can be changed or different from a viewpoint. For me personally, how I view it, yeah, we definitely have some differences, but I feel like we have a lot more similarities and it's a lot more things that are like than different. And sometimes we too much emphasize on the differences. Like definitely be aware of the differences, but sometimes it's, oh, the only reason is because of this. And it's like, but do it gotta be? So that's kind of the stance I'm gonna go into some of this with. And I mean, I'm pretty sure folks can like jump in like, oh man, he's talking about women cheating. It's like, oh, what this man think he got to talk about? I don't know. Tune in. I might say some shit you fucking with. So, first part I'm gonna talk on with this. In my opinion, I'm gonna kind of like, I like to go back a little bit on the roots to it. So I feel like a big thing for women with cheating, compared to like a man, I would feel would be sexual restrictions. I feel like a woman has way more restrictions sexually on her to an extent than a man does. And that's said from like the fact that there are way more outside opinions on what should or shouldn't happen with a woman's body. Like obviously like in America, y'all know you got Roe versus Wade that got overturned like a year or two ago or something like that. Like as far as like a woman being able to have an abortion, things like that, I'm not gonna give my opinions on that. Like people, hey, look, do what you need to do with your bodies. And for your health, because there's definitely some parts in there where it's like, bruh, let's prioritize someone who's living life. Again, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but you know what I mean? It's definitely differences in opinions with that. But a woman has so many more people having an opinion about their sexuality compared to a man. Like in a household, you can look at like girls growing up, hey, do this, do that, do that. And it's like so much of a controlling of what they do. When compared to like a man, it's like, hey, look, man, watch yourself out there, but go live your life, do whatever. You have a daughter or you have a child or something, man or woman, is like you trying to be super protective of her virginity, but with your young boy, it's like kinda, but it's like, do your thing. So it's just like in general, from that basis, I feel like women have so much more of a sexual restriction that's placed upon them. And with it, reason why, like from a basis, I feel like those kind of things can add to them having a bit more pent up sexual energy than a man. So like the way it's handled may explode a little bit differently. Obviously you got the tactical differences. Just like a general part, people can say a woman cheating, you less likely to catch a woman cheating because they're way smoother with it, way more tactical compared to a dude just out here moving, he just sticking and moving, trying to get it in, way sloppier with it or whatever. I feel like that just can kind of go to like emphasis on what a dude learned to prioritize, like how clean is kept. Like I don't feel like dudes are really taught to watch yourself, like to make sure you're not putting yourself out there, like make sure you have on the best image, like in a professional boardroom setting or whatever. But I feel like women are way more taught, hey, be a lady, dress like a lady, present this kind of thing, compared to a dude is like mostly present a gentleman, but other than that, man, do your thing, thug. And when you thugging, sometimes you get caught out here thugging too much. But as a woman, you trying to be a lady, you so much reserved, it's like, you might have that freak in the closet over there wilding, but you know what I mean, you putting on that lady presentation. So you feel me? It's a whole lot easier to like make this stuff slide by real smooth than with a dude. So touching on another topic I said last week, was just the olderness of it, like compared with like the sexual action. So like I was talking about like the sex drive, like an older woman exploring more sexually than an older man, I feel like. And I feel like a big reason of that is just how, like I said, the sexual restrictions that a woman may have. So like I feel like it's way more common, like a woman, you get married young and a man get married young, that woman is more likely to have had less sexual partners. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he might have had 10, she might have had 2. And it's like, all right, how much sex you had? Like both of y'all are around the same age, so y'all both 22. And I don't know what's a reasonable amount of sex to have had by 22. I know how much I might have had. I don't know what y'all think the reasonable amount of bodies to have had by that age. So yeah, like just those points. And if both sides are being faithful, that man has had at least 10 partners of experience. That woman has had just the one dude she had before that and the dude she with now. Or if she had 2 dudes before that and then him, she got very minimal like experiences. So it's like a whole lot more going into it, like the build up on like what you're doing, like your sexual experience is really based on whoever this one person you've been with, especially out in rock for like 20 years or some shit like that. And I feel like when a woman, like, you know what I mean, obviously it's unfortunate right now. Divorce is like so high, so common. Most marriages end in divorce. when you get out there, like you get divorced, you want to know more what's out there. Like if you done been pent up with one person, once you finally get to that point of where you experiencing other people, you probably want to see what these other people hitting for. And when you get out there, as a man, like I say, you done tried more things before marriage. You kind of like, hey, I'm trying to try these things that's already in the space what I like, maybe a little bit outside of, but if you're a woman, you know what I mean? You've been restricted. You like, hey, little bit, man, I'm out here. I'm finna do my thing. I'm finna put this little old, this cougar cat on these young things. We finna do our thing, babe. I'm trying to get my everything. I was finna talk about something that I just said the past couple weeks, but I'm telling myself I'm not finna say it this week. I was this close to talking about it, but I ain't gonna say it. And if you watch the past 2 weeks, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I feel like that just plays so much of a part of like when a woman, like you get out, especially when you compare it to like how some of the older generation men may be to the point, they way more restrictive and way more like telling their wives what to and what not to do. And you a woman, you get out, you done been in a marriage for like 20 years and now you free. You want to kind of do your thing. And like really, it don't really seem too enticing to not get with someone who's going to restrict you, who's going to like limit on what you've been doing, especially if you done dealt with someone who's been so restrictive. So at that point, you a whole lot more don't want to be free with it. A whole lot want to move around a little bit more. Do your thing. Like let nobody tell you what to do. And staying on the subject of kind of the older women and or older things, just older people in general. It goes back to like one of the oldest, what's called the oldest profession in the world. I don't know what it really is, but harlots, like prostitution. You know what I mean? That's considered one of the oldest professions in the world, like the oldest profession. And just simply getting resources in exchange for sexual favors. You know what I mean? And I feel like with that, it's a big play on the fact like of just what's available. Like you go back to the oldest times or whatever, when obviously harlotry, or I'm gonna say prostitution because harlotry just feels like a weird word to me say. But yeah, so like when you got like prostitution or somebody like selling their body, or it'd be sex worker, would that be the better word? It's like the proper term right now, sex worker, you know what I mean? But is a sex worker, is that like OnlyFans? Or is a sex worker people who like actually having like, I don't know, like what's sex worker mean? Somebody let me know in the comments, like what is a sex worker? Like what's the line between a sex worker to a OnlyFans person to a porn star to a prostitute? Like what's the space in between them? Does sex worker cover all them people, or it go up to so far, or is, you know what I mean? What's the? I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm asking this genuine. Like, what's a sex worker? What's the bar of a sex worker? But I digress. Yeah. So I feel like when you go back to older times, women prostitution is just a case of how things play. Like I know how I talked about last week with men and the fact that the dominance in the society. You're a woman. You're not able to dominate the society. You're not able to dominate culture when it's not really so much based on your brains, bronze, or intelligence, or whichever you can do. It's based on what you physically can have. So that's going to get you the resources. So that means men got most of the resources. So, all right, bet. So I need to figure out what I can use that I have to get these resources that they didn't made. All right, so now I'm going to be restricted with my body, and you can get me for some of that money, some of that coin, some of that, whatever you got over there going, hey, let's make a trade happen. And I feel like that's kind of how you get to like professions like harlotry. Like, all right, bet I need to use what I got to get what you have. And if you want me and I don't want you, but I want your money, real simple process. And I feel like that's how we kind of like get to those things. And one of the things, like you can look at it like obviously it's a fucked up situation to where like women having to on them older times, and even currently, because like, obviously prostitution and things like that is a woman primary thing. Like it's way more men who paying for sex from a woman than it is women who paying for sex from a man. You got gigolos, but it ain't nearly the same kind of clip. And I feel like with those, sorry for the hesitation, a trip up. With it, I think a big thing is like one, it's a bit of a forced kind of situation, but what I would say on it is also I feel like it'd be crazy as hell to assume everybody who a prostitute, everybody who doing sex, everybody who in some sex work or whatever, you know what I mean, that barometer of sex worker is doing it just for the money. Some people like having it. Like, just like it's dudes who like having sex, there's plenty of women who like having sex. So I feel like there's a good chance, one, within that sexuality, there's plenty of women who like, why you doing it? Baby, because I like doing it. I like having good sex. I like these orgasms that I'm getting. I'm doing it because of that. Now, sometimes you probably like be dealing with like any other job, you know what I mean? You might be doing your sex worker joint or your prostitution. and you slide across a client, and then they don't come through with the come through, and you ain't get to where you wanted to get to. But that might not always be the case. I'm pretty sure, like, probably if you having to pay for sex, you probably ain't really just putting it down like that. I feel like if you like a dude who's just having to pay for it, you probably ain't just yeah with it. But I mean, maybe just real horny or something. I don't know. But I ain't never paid for sex, so I don't know what the clientele of people who paying for it is. But I would assume there's a decent amount of people who, or not a decent amount, but there are some people who have sex and enjoy it, and that's why they kind of into the business. Now, of course, like I said, any other job, you have moments where it's like, this is a waste of my time. This is annoying, but I mean, I don't mean no day. You don't never have no good days. I am for sure. I really hope this is coming across well, like on the basis of why I started, like with women cheating, but I'm trying to go to the basis of understanding. For me, like, and maybe it's in like the title, or I'm not sure exactly what I'm sticking with on for as far as like the cover or whatever, but like women's sexuality is a big part of what going into my opinion about women cheating from that different stance than compared to like a man. And like continue the story for me, like girls are taught to be way more like to like run from their sexuality a whole lot more, kind of like how I said with the case of as a young girl, you may not be taught to do as much as a young boy. Like for me, a crazy part, I know like a friend of mine, like a while back or whatever, but it was like a conversation we was having, and they was talking about, I think I might have said this last week, but like talking about with their son, they was like, yeah, I want my son to be a player, and I want him to and like losing his virginity, like doing something at a young age. And I'm like, that's no way you'd say that about your daughter. Like I highly doubt like the whole basis, but it's like, it's cool for your son to be doing that. And for me, that's like that basis, like, hey, you telling your son that, but your daughter's like, hey, be reserved. Don't let nobody have you. Protect your body. And it's good. I'm with the case of protecting your body, but it's like that right there, within protecting your body, that's also like giving them the space to explore their sexuality. So just like a man, it's important. It's good to understand your body. It's good for a woman to explore sexuality, to know what it is at some kind of young age, not having to get to college and experiment and do everything because you done went through so much of your life not doing and doing anything with your body. Because I feel like with so many things around women, this is just so defensive and so protective of, and it's like, allow them to have their bodies. And like, I mean, one, y'all creepy motherfucking dudes or whatever, like back the fuck off women, let them do what the fuck they doing. Like, get the fuck out their space. Like, if a motherfucker wants you in your space, be in their space, but otherwise, let the women be a woman. And she decline you, be cool, stop acting out. And it's just like, once you get to those spaces, like a woman can do whatever, do a whole lot more of the things similar to like how a man moves and act in those same kind of ways and be free within it. Not even like necessarily like being ain't shit. Cause I'm not in any way promoting cheating, but just the understanding of how I kind of go. Like even with a woman, the fact is so crazy of how a period is viewed in society. Like there's a shameful bit around it. Like most girls, like first time having your period, so embarrassing. There's nothing that a dude really has equivalent that his body go through that happen. I mean, other than like me, I mean, you might get hard in class, but I mean, you can try to finesse that a little bit. You bleed in class, hey, that's the thing going on. It's probably heavy in your head, especially based on some conversations I've had with women about their first periods or something like that, if it happened in school or outside or whatever, how they go. But just like even for me, now don't get me wrong, I talk shit with my friends, my female friends, whatever, about periods, like, that's nasty, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, that's off the basis of like what I've been taught and how we didn't grow up. But it's also like all love, like, baby, hey, look, man, your period is normal, girl, that's regular. But it's so much like societal connotation of like being so nasty with it, like that natural woman action. And I feel like we just got to kind of work on getting to that point of where it's not so much of a connotation about women's sexuality compared to a man. Like women being able to explore more of their sexuality instead of having to be just in this woman kind of space. Like I feel like women amongst each other, they have like this open conversation or whatever. But I feel like as a man, we can more have that open conversation with ourselves and with a woman compared to like theirs a little bit more have to be here because we'll have a lot more judgment coming from the man side of it. So yeah, just keep it on moving. Like I say, with everything we do, just staying on the focus. Men cheating is what I'm kind of talking about to like focus on like the flip side comparison. I feel like this could be taken wrong, but I feel like currently like men are more chastised for their behavior than a woman. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure like folks to be like, really? Oh, men get to do whatever. Like for sure, it's definitely, I feel like it depends on the age group that you're looking at, because I feel like that is a flip compared to what it used to be. Like, definitely has been a time period like women being way more chastised than a man on what they're allowed to do. But I feel like currently we're moving toward a space of where women behavior is a little bit more excused, like a woman acting out or something like that. In current society, I feel like, and when I say current society, I'm talking about like a bit more skewing to the younger people, which is gonna shape the bigger society. Because currently, I would definitely feel like the masses still more, women are more chastised, men are more excused for whatever bullshit they doing. But as these young people grow older and they become the masses, I feel like it'll definitely be more of a shift within it, as into where like, oh, y'all men, y'all wrong, y'all wilding out. And I mean, kind of like how once we kind of got like a different viewpoint on it and started viewing like, oh yeah, like kind of the white man kind of thing, how it became a little point in time. I don't know if it's still current, but like as a white guy, like where you had been like always the good guy or whatever, but now it's like, oh yeah, y'all the reason, y'all holding back every other subgroup, like minorities, women, whatever it may be. So it's like, now you became the villain compared to, well, for so long you've been the hero. And I feel like it's something like the flip on that happening with men and women from a sexual standpoint. And in my opinion, we won't necessarily need to be aiming toward a sense of flipping it compared to working toward a middle point, because I don't think men should be viewed as more of a villain or women more as a villain. Like, we should just all be able to be people within it. And let me try to draw these things in a little bit more toward the cheating aspect of it. So from as like a man, you can have, I feel like you look back like maybe 60s or some shit like that, or like whatever time period, it's how common it was for like a man to have two families in one city. Like, that's crazy work to me. Like, bro, you got legit one city across town, especially like some country type shit. You got two whole families. And at some points, it was acceptable. Like, some women knew I'm the other family. Or like, bro, you know how wild it is? Or even look at like how often it's acceptable for like a powerful man. If a dude like high up in somewhere is like, oh yeah, he probably got some side pieces. He got a mistress or son on the side. And even like the viewpoint of like women sleeping up the corporate ladder, like there's no viewpoint of a man sleeping up the corporate ladder. There's no, the connotation, everything around it is just different. There's no expectation of, oh, he got the position, he probably slept with somebody. Not really. You usually ain't able to sleep with somebody because, one, most of the people are men in power. That's a possibility, you know what I mean? You got some people who is gay or homosexual, the right word. Like, I really don't like speaking on things that don't apply to me because I don't want to ever come across as offensive. But I mean, maybe dude might have had to do something to get up in the corporate ladder, but I feel like it's way more common, a woman doing those things. And I'm going to keep moving on from that so I don't say shit stupid. But even like the phrase mistress, like, I'm pretty sure there is a phrase, but it is not as common a phrase for like a man, like of a position of a side piece. Like, side piece is a current saying, but like, what's the equivalent of a woman of a man who a mistress? Like, is it a mister or like, I don't know. Like, what's that? And to me, like, that just speaks to the case of like the lack of freedom within sexuality, or like the viewpoint already of the judgment for a woman and her sexuality. Like, why there's so many phrases for like a woman who is just doing more things. Like, we got words like fast, promiscuous, loose, easy, whore, hoe. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those words might get used on a male, but it's so much more common to attach those words to a woman who exploring her sexuality. And so I feel like with those things, those restrictions on what you can do, I feel like leads to a lot more cheating. Now, obviously, you got the reasons of both sides, like people cheat because they cheat back or they're unhappy within a relationship. But I want to speak more to the case of, and that's man or women, like anybody, you'll cheat because if you unhappy, like whatever reason you want somebody else, that can be there. But for me, just the case of, just like with a man, it's more of a case of it's acceptable to want so much. I feel like as a woman, the flip side of what I'm trying to attack this from is because of not having so much, is like, I have more of a desire to get these things because of the restrictions that I've had. And not just like, I may one day have a conversation just on cheating in general, but I more want to speak to like the different parts that within us that lead to our desire for the actions that we're doing. So I feel like with women, like right now, like I said, changing over time, sexual freedom is so much more of a big thing. Like, you look back to times like 60s, 70s, I feel like maybe that's around the time when, at least in my mind, when I hear folks talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, women kind of out here doing their thing, moving around a little bit more, you know what I mean? You got like that little strong arm woman thing doing that, you know what I mean? the little pose was shot with the blue jean jacket and the red scarf on the head, like that joint right there. When you look at them times, I feel like that's when you a whole lot more like moving to like women getting to a more empowerment point. Just doing more. It's like, sexual freedom is a whole lot more. Like, you know what I mean, I think of like when I think of like 60s and 70s, I think of like some hairy punani back then. That's what I think of, just like a whole lot of them things got them bushes shot. They got the fro in the fro. You feel me? And and that's just how I think back on them times. But with those are time periods where we kind of had more of a shift toward getting to sexual freedom. But always in my mind, how I feel like looking at it is understanding that's coming from a time period of women having so much, and that's really just America, but that's kind of women having so much time of not having those same levels of freedom. And in some societies, it's still not at the same kind of clip. Because, I mean, you can look at it, they're literally societies, in some societies still, where women were, your daughters were sold like anything else. Like, oh, I want to get land, so I sold my daughter. Like, oh, you got land? Cool, you can marry my daughter for this. Or, oh, you got, you know what I mean, supposed to be like 3 chickens and a goat type joints. I don't know what societies that is. I don't want to be disrespectful to any of them. But just the fact that that's more of a common thing. I'm pretty sure it's like some type of sales that may happen for a son, or like, you know, marriage, especially when you look at some type of royalty type stuff, like they married to expand out kingdoms and stuff. But your daughter really ain't got to be sold to expand out anything. It's just like getting resources for your house. Like, this is somebody else I can sell to. Oh, look, this is my good virgin daughter. You can have her. Like, man, that's crazy work. And so it's like the uses of daughters in marriage for leverage. But now we're at this way more state of where we're building toward. It's still nowhere close to women having the same level of sexual freedom as a man. But I feel like we are building toward this, a whole lot more acceptability of women being more free and with their sexuality. Because, I mean, just one, women gonna always be, well, I ain't gonna say gonna always be, but I foresee for a significant amount of time still in our future, at least 100 more years, women being able to be in control sexually, because men we are taught to be easy to have sex. Like, it ain't hard to convince a man. If a man wants you and he don't have any restriction, like he trying to be faithful in a relationship, it is hard for a dude to just be like, nah, let me not have sex with this woman that look good to me. I feel like there's a whole lot more women who can like tell themselves, he look good to me, but I'm gonna not have sex with him. I don't got amongst myself, amongst my partners, amongst folks I know. I don't know too many dudes who, now I'm trying to get better and I am better, and you know what I mean? But if a woman who you want is propositioning you hard, now I done kind of had some times of like turning down a woman who I want, but it'd be hard though. It'd be real hard. I don't know how hard it is for y'all women out there. Y'all can let me know, like, how hard is it, like, you know what I mean, when a dude you don't know propositioning you hard for sex, and it's like, how much is it? Damn, he thirsty? Or it's like, damn, I gotta tell myself not to have sex with him. I just don't know. I feel like it's way easier for y'all. Y'all can please enlighten me and let me know if I'm wrong about that though. But staying on the case of the sexual freedom, how I feel like that's exploring more for women. Talking about media. Music, I feel like, especially again, like I spoke about last week with men, you got music, man. Music is way more freeing for women sexually now. Like, it didn't always, you can look at some older songs where women kind of like might have popped their shit sexually, but it don't always got to be like, oh, I'm in love right now. It's hey, I'm doing my shit like right now. You know what I mean? It's 7 p.m. Friday. It's 95 degrees. I ain't got no nigga, and no nigga ain't got me. You feel me? Like, what the fuck you talking about? How the fuck is that your nigga if he right here with me? So it's just like a different type of time. It's way more free and sexually. For me, that ain't even like a judgment type point. That's just like hey, look, straight up, shot it, do your goddamn thing. Women loving that shit. Like, you can look at the joint like Rihanna doing that shit, talking that shit to ASAP, her dude. But it's like, that ain't even like no odds, whatever. Just like fucking enjoying it, like that freedom of women being able to do what the fuck they want. And I'm with this shit, man. Shot it. Now, I can't listen to too much female music, especially like rap sometimes, because I personally, there's certain bits of y'all getting sexual talking, but baby, I don't want to hear this, because this is, I can't be in the same kind of standpoint, but I'm supporting it. Shit, some of them I can rock with. Because like, shit, goddamn Glow, goddamn Big Glow be dropping in goddamn shit, shawty popping that shit. It's just like, I don't know. She like for sure one of the ones like niggas just fuck with. But yeah, so it's just like a different kind of thing, man. Music is a space, and obviously I can primarily only speak from hip hop, R&B, shit like that, because that's primarily what I listen to. But I feel like across, you look at different genres as well. It's way more free and sexually on a woman, like exploring whatever they want to do. Women speaking to each other on like to just like, hey baby, like do your thing, like fuck with these dudes on. Cause I mean, sometimes you got some dudes who like trying to speak to that, but it's way more important and bigger when a woman can speak out to each other. Cause it's like shit, you hearing from somebody else who's saying it to you. Yeah, baby, do your thing. Fuck what these niggas talking about. We thugging, and I'm with it. Hey, baby, be as free as possible. Cause shit, I know I want to be as free as possible with my sexuality. So I want a women to do whatever they want. Shit, it's July right now. It's the summertime. Women on hot girl summer action. Like whatever that mean to you, do your thing, baby. But just as well as like music, you got film, and I feel like with film, it's way more explorative of a woman's sexuality, like with less judgment. Because I definitely feel like it definitely had been just like with music, less of women being able to, what would it be like? What it always just had to be. Basically, it's just always got to be about love. It's just like women all fall in love, and fall in love. But it's like, man, sometimes women just want to like catch a body, do her thing, keep it moving, no judgment, doing her shit. And I feel like it's way more of those, like, it ain't even got to be necessarily on that same type of time, but it just like, it ain't always got to be the same kind of story told on how a woman doing things with her sexuality. It can be a little bit more of her exploring her sexuality without judgment. Because like, if you telling me a story about a woman who exploring her sexuality, but then everything around it is judgment, it's like, yeah, you ain't really like openly sexual. You just kind of like talking about what she did, but now we pointing the finger at her. But when she doing her thing and we ain't pointing the finger like, oh, why she fucking all them dudes? It's like, hey, baby, do your thing. And I feel like that's a way better space to be within. And I mean, even with books, now I feel like what's crazy, because you look at like erotica books or something, those are way more tailored toward women. And something just even thinking about with books is crazy. When I thought about when I was thinking about books, it's wild as shit that women, I feel like women read more, especially like with the American society, women read more than men, when there was a long period of time when women weren't even allowed to learn to read and write. That shit crazy, like how much more you look at like novels and you look at certain shit, it's just like, it very much seems way more, women read way more. Like, don't get me wrong, dudes read, we read, of course. But like the commonality of women reading, like book clubs or usually women book clubs, just like it's way more of a thing to like explore that kind of space when comparably as dudes, we don't dive into it. But that's a side note. Shit. All right. This gonna be my shortest episode in a little minute. But yeah, so I feel like with those things and kind of like diving in and kind of finishing up a little bit is like the behavior around with that sexuality. I feel like that sexuality like leads to some kind of actions that, to me, unfortunately, because we want to explore our sexuality, well, may lead to more cheating. So it's like, I'm in this situation. I want to be in a relationship because one, I feel like it's way more talk to a woman to get into a relationship. But it's like you get into a relationship, but you want to do more shit. All right, I'm gonna fuck around. And also because men are being taught to cheat so much, a woman can have a ideology. All right, he done cheated on me, I'm gonna cheat back. And I feel like cheating back is such a common behavior. It's way more common, I feel like, for a woman, because as a dude, I feel like you more like you get cheated on, you dipping. Like dudes, like it's dudes who can and deal with it, but I feel like way more dude pride can't deal with the fact of being cheated on. You get cheated on as a man, you probably dipping and sliding on her like, nah, babe, I'm out of here. Like, you did this with your emotions, you don't love me no more. You been fucking on these new niggas, you don't love me no more. When compared as a female, a dude can feel like, oh, he just fucked on her, like she can still love me. I mean, shit, it could have been the same goddamn thing, but regardless, I feel like cheating back is just as bad as cheating, because like, look, it's an option to fucking leave the relationship. Like, you don't have to stay in a relationship just because you get cheated on and you like, oh, I'm gonna cheat back, so I'm gonna get even. You can just leave. Like, sometimes, hey, we in this society where we love and low toxic behavior, we in this toxic ass relationship. You in that toxic shit, y'all doing toxic shit together. I really don't care to hear your complaints about the toxic shit that's happening because you doing toxic behavior back. Like, being a villain you got two villains, yeah, it's gonna be pretty hazardous, pretty evil going on. Like, you can just dip out, all right, for sure. You ain't for me because this is the shit you want to be on. But each their own. Trying out this new water. It don't hit the same as the water I've been drinking on. But yeah, so we're ending up on this joint, man. Like the part we gotta aim for is like having change, like having more healthy habits. I mean, just really just introducing more healthy behaviors. Like I feel like one, it's a big thing for like women to be able to explore and dive into their sexuality without having so much of the restrictions. I feel like less of those restrictions can kind of lead to women cheating less. And that's just my opinion. That's just like a small part to it. I feel like because of how often and how much women have been restricted and how much they've been told like what they can and cannot do with their own bodies, it's more of a case of, all right, fuck you. I'm finna do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna fuck him. Like I said last week, I'm gonna fuck him and him and him and him and her sometimes. You know what I mean? Because that's how I be sometimes. So it's just like when you've been restricted, you want to go do more shit. And I feel like if we get to a society where it's more pushing toward women to be able to, at a young age, like not so much hiding from a woman, her sexuality, so when she gets to old age, it was like, all right, now I want to do all this shit. You can now build up on a healthier response and situation with it. Your sexuality doesn't have to be pent up and held from yourself and like, now let me overly explore it, or let me say, fuck these niggas, I need to fuck all these niggas, or I'll get it with a nigga and I need to cheat. You just, you better with it. Just like as men, we got to be better. As women, y'all got to be better. And as we get better, you know what I mean? Kings and queens getting lifted up and we having a beautiful society. That's how a real nigga like me feel about this shit, you know what I mean? So, on that note, I feel like this has been my most rambly fucking topic. So, I'm going to go ahead and end the vent right there. Like I said, man, this is a better, not better situation. So, just please take in the shit I'm talking about. Is just a case of like, I do feel like women have been more restricted sexually, but I feel like as long as we aiming toward that goal of being in a better situation, empowering women more to explore their sexuality and shit, just kind of making it as a man, making it a healthier, safer situation. So like, one, not cheat on your girl to where she don't have a sense of like, I will fuck him, so fuck, I'm cheating back. Not having the lack of communication that sows seeds of doubt, just different shit like that. Just make sure that we as a man, like I said, doing the parts we can to make sure your queen feeling better, and as a queen, making sure you explain with your man whatever, how you feeling and what you got going on, and if you want, and if you on that level with him, you know what I mean. Dudes might be in their feelings and thinking y'all together, and you out here thugging. It's like, hey, nigga, I fuck with you, but I'm thugging, and shit. Let that nigga know that she ain't fucking with him like that. And that's y'all prerogative, queen. Because I don't got no judgment towards you, baby. You want to get you a new body? Hey, get you a new body. I ain't talking about building the body, but I mean, you want to do that too. That's your body. Do your thing. Yeah, so right there, that's the end of the motherfucking better not better. That's the end of all this shit I got to talk. I don't want to talk too much more shit. So y'all already know, man. Look, it's a StoryHouse show. If you fuck with me, man, be sure to tap in, hit like, follow, subscribe, do all that little shit. You can follow the YouTube on StoryHouse_XO. The StoryHouse show, man, StoryHouse podcast, however you want to put it in. You can follow on like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that little shit or whatever. You can find it at storyhouse.xo. You can like check out any of the clips from like past episodes or this one as well coming up in the future. And be sure to hit them reviews, Apple, Spotify, shit like that. Leaving 5 stars, saying great shit, telling me about how you fuck with me. Hey, right there, could you not leave like reviews of where you ain't fucking with me? Leave that shit for YouTube comments, Instagram comments, DM, shit like that. On them reviews, get that nigga that 5. Let me get that 5. So, you know what I mean? We can keep building up so we can get 5. Hey, and look, at a point in time, I done like ran in with a few people, folks, and like let me know they want to come on and do a interview. I'm definitely planning to get to a point of doing interviews, but first I want to like let y'all know what y'all rocking and what kind of energy you gonna get from me. That way anybody come on, you already know the type of tone and energy of how we rocking. So you gonna chop it up with a nigga. And I'm gonna talk the same kind of way, but we gonna have a guest. So just want to let y'all know that shit. I do have the goal and intention to like want to have guests on in the future. So we just working and building toward that. We don't want to, we ain't trying to rush it. We taking our time with it. You know what I mean? Like when you got a nice little, you know what I mean? You got to take that thing nice and slow, let her know what it feel like, put that little pressure on her, you feel me? I don't that motherfucking know what I'm about, man. Y'all already know, man. This is a StoryHouse show. Y'all been in the house. Y'all been rocking with your nigga. We rocking. We kicking in this motherfucker. But hey, it ain't got late, man. Y'all got to get about this motherfucker. So deuces, get the fuck about my house. I don't know where you going, but I know you going through that door. Look, man, y'all already know, man. It's all love. But if you watching the episode late, hey, look, click on that next motherfucking episode and let's keep it rolling. If not, I'm gonna holler at y'all next week, man. So y'all already know, man, it's all love. Y'all be easy. It's your boy Ayo. We out.
I've been going through some things, so much on my brain, just hoping it would change. I've been going through some things, so much on my brain, seem like all I feel is pain.